Hi, I'm Satcher here at Ballpark. We're in the booth, Flobo Boyce here, and I, for one, love having some of our guests part already of the Black Baseball Mixtape family. Come on by, stop on what we're seeing, what they're doing, and what they're getting themselves involved in. You know, about almost 2 years ago at this point, we had this guest on the Black Baseball Mixtape, so I'm so glad that he's back. Can I call you still the beer guy? Because you're vending everything these days.
That's
Reggie
right.
Duvalsaint, what's going on, sir? How's life?
How's it going, man? Good to see you, man.
Man, it's
Good
been
to
a
see you.
long time, man. Since we were on the Black Baseball mixtape a couple of years back, you've already been
That's right.
going to a lot more stadiums, getting a lot more press coverage, man. How's the life as one of the most prolific vendors in all sports?
Pretty good, man. I can't complain. I just came off of the Wheel of Fortune high, which was fantastic. I just was on Wheel of Fortune yesterday, so
Okay.
it was a great experience to finally have it air, and I can finally talk about it now. Because when you film it, you have to keep it under wraps until it airs. So now
Yeah.
I'm free to discuss it, which is great.
Well, hold on. Did they still record that down the street? Oh, here in Los Angeles. Did they still do it in Los Angeles or somewhere
Correct.
else?
Yeah, it's in LA. It's in Culver City where they shoot.
Yeah, like there. I live in Culver City. I'm about 2 blocks away from there. The
Okay. Yeah.
Sony
So you know,
Studios. Yeah.
you know
Because
the
I
spot.
I don't know that. I mean, now everything's all outsourced. You could be like, oh yeah, bro, I was in like the Bahamas or something.
Sure, sure. Well, I did win a trip to the Bahamas, so shout out to Wheel of Fortune. Thank you.
Did you really?
I did, absolutely.
So let me ask you: were you recruited or did you apply to be on the show?
So I went to an open call. It was at a casino here in Philadelphia. I thought that I would never get picked. You know, there was thousands of people there. I said, I'm just here. We'll give it a shot and we'll see what happens. And I went through the whole process. Didn't hear anything for about 2, 3 months. So I thought, it was over. And then one day I checked my email and here it says, come back for the second audition. So went
Yeah.
to that, and like I said, the rest is history.
Wow, man. Well, if you go to the Bahamas, man, just make sure you take pictures because my broke ass
For
won't go out
sure.
there for a while. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
look, man, what has not been said about your legacy, man? You put your name into YouTube. You've been on TV shows. You've been on news reports. You've been on podcasts. Really was a moment of happenstance that led you down this path, man. Just being able
Sure.
to share joy for everyone, man. But before I even get to the brass tacks of that, it's 2026. I mean, the goal of doing almost every MLB and every NFL is almost done. So, do you think
That's
about
right.
next steps? Do you think about next goals, or is kind of like
Yeah.
get one
So,
thing done and move on?
part of the keeping the quest alive, the fact that it's still alive just gives me a little more motivation as well to try to, keep doing what I'm doing. I enjoy vending. I always ask myself, how long do I want to do it at this pace? Maybe I always want to do it. I know that for
Mhm.
sure. Just being at the stadiums, it's a lot of fun talking to the fans and being right there, right in the center of the action. There's nothing that beats that. But I do ask myself, how long do I want to do it at this pace? Eventually you want to settle down, you want to have a family, you want to, you know, live your life. But it's work, but I can't say it feels like work. It feels like fun. You know.
I mean, I bet it is, but like, walk me through like the actual planning because you do sometimes you do multiple cities a day. I mean, you live in the East
Sure.
Coast, so cities are close together. But how do
Mhm.
you plan it? You just like you do buses, you trains, you like take time
Well,
off, like.
well, that's a good question. So, like I said, when I do my schedule, I say my favorite day of the year is the day that the MLB schedule drops, the day that the NFL schedule drops. Those are my favorite days because that's when the planning begins, right? As soon as you see the schedule, you're looking at where you think you want to be and kind of planning out the future from there. So,
Yeah.
a lot of planning is involved. So, like I said, right now we're in January, but I'm already looking at June, July, August in terms of where I want to be and how I want to handle those months.
So it's interesting because I had the opportunity to do my quest for 30 last year. It took me about 4 seasons to get that done, and
Mhm.
I started here in LA and I finished in Cincinnati of all places. Because
Nice.
from LA, it's like Cincinnati is a weirdly shaped size town. It's like
Mhm.
small enough that not a lot of airlines go into that airport, but like big
Sure.
enough that like it becomes anyway. Long story
They,
short,
they're passionate fans of Cincinnati. I'll
no,
give
the
them that.
fans are great. I mean, like, this is the thing I learned. That's my question, right? Is that logistically, for a country so big and so
Uh-huh.
advanced as the United States, sometimes getting from one town to another is a pain in the ass. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
how do you navigate
Absolutely.
that part
Like I said, you're at
of
the
it all?
mercy of the airlines a lot of the times, but
Right.
planning certainly goes a long way. And like I said, baseball is one of those unique sports where you have weekday day games and night games, so it makes it easier to do multiple cities at once. So you can do a 1 o'clock Wednesday, you can do a 7 o'clock Wednesday. like I said, a lot of the teams, after a while, they get to know you and they're pretty comfortable with you coming, and they understand that you're coming from another city sometimes. So um, it's it's planning that makes this all happen. But like I said, I love every minute of it. I can't say anything
Yeah.
else about it.
And football has less inventory, so that means more planning's involved there. I mean, that over a longer period of time to get 32 stadiums down, because I mean there are only one game a week.
That's
It's
right.
only
Which
eight
football
home
is a little bit
games.
tougher. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Because like I said, most of the games are Sunday at 1 o'clock in most cities. So it's a little bit tougher logistically. But that being said, football because it's like a religion. I mean, I feel like the people, it's once a week, people come out, they they support their teams. Whereas baseball, it's more like a day-to-day kind of thing. So the ballpark may not be full every time, but NFL, the fans come out, they support, and they drink alcohol. Let's be real.
yeah, yeah. I heard
So
that on a previous podcast. You're like, yeah, everyone loves their beer, right? So like,
yep, absolutely, absolutely.
okay, so when we talk about the making it work, you're going to different teams. How is it? Do the teams talk to each other, or are you like an independent contractor for each individual team? Is
That's a
there a way
good
to make that
question.
easier?
So,
Yeah,
some of the teams share the same concession company. So a lot of times you can bounce around within one or two companies and do several different teams, if
yeah.
that makes sense. And then also, like I said, there are some subcontractors that also have multiple accounts. So it's not like you have to contact each individual team. Although some teams do their own operation, most of the time it is concession companies that handle the concessions for multiple teams.
Now, without putting anybody on blast, are there some teams out there that when you work, the vibe is, oh look, it's the beer guy, he's back, Hollywood, or is everyone like down the cloud? Like, tell me, talk
Well,
to me.
like I said, you always try to keep a low profile when you're at the stadium. Like I said, you just try to, have fun, fit in, and like I said, the best part is mingling with the fans. I'll be honest with you. It's just, it's going in that bowl and just talking to people. Because, like I said, I feel like I have two different approaches when I sell beer. On a really busy day, you're all about cutting the lines and moving the traffic as quickly as you can. You know what I mean? Like I said, you just want to get everybody served because nobody likes waiting. So when it's a long line and there's a long wait, you want to get the fans served as quickly as possible. You know what I mean? But on a slow day, especially with baseball, I feel like it's a good time to you come in the bowl before the game, you get to talk to the fans, you get to know some of the fans, and you get to meet the regulars, the people that are there on a daily basis, season ticket holders. You really get to know them after a while,
Yeah.
first name basis. And I get calls from fans on a regular basis all the time saying, are you going to be at this game? You going to be here at this particular day? Looking forward to seeing you again, looking forward to saying hi. I got beer money for you waiting. Hopefully you're there that day.
Does your top five change over time, or have they been pretty much like locked in?
For stadiums, well, like I
Yeah,
said, recently I've been cutting back a little bit on the travel. I'm not bouncing around like LA Tuesday, Chicago Wednesday. I'm trying to, rein it in a little bit. I still might drop my face in once in a while at some of these other ballparks, but for the most part, I'm trying to stick to New York, Philadelphia.
okay.
I live in New Jersey now, so I'm kind of halfway in between both cities. So I'm doing majority New York, Philadelphia. But again, I throw in the occasional Chicago trip, Atlanta trip, LA trip.
Yeah,
Like I said, uh, at the mercy of the schedule.
yeah, absolutely. I asked this question as a fan. I think football too, but almost every stadium now is cashless. So
Correct.
as a vendor, what happens when you get the beer ready? You pop it open, and the card declines. Do you like? Do you like do you get to drink it? Like, do you get to
Well,
pass
it
it
happens
out?
from
Like,
time to time. Like I said, the majority of fans, it doesn't really happen, but occasionally it does. Like I said, and you try to be discreet about it. You don't want to embarrass anybody or anything like that. But you might let them know, hey, listen, do you happen to have another card, or maybe somebody else has a card for you?
yeah.
But you try to be discreet. You don't try to embarrass anybody like that.
This is why I can't be a vendor. I'm like, yo, your broke ass can't even buy a Miller Lite. Damn. Yo, get along with this guy.
Yeah.
So you talked about on many different shows that this was kind of a matter of happenstance. You answered the ad. You started working at the All-Star game in Miami, which is fantastic. And you had a life before that. And
Yeah.
so do you ever look back and then say, man, imagine where that Reggie would have been? Like, if I was still doing this, is that something you think about? Or it's like, no, man, I jumped, it's over. Echo Tap was closed.
Like I said, I feel like life is about the chances that you take, and sometimes you just you see an opportunity, you grab onto it, and you try to be the best at what you do in that field. So that's how I approach vending. I fell into it by accident. I loved it. I initially thought maybe it might be something on the side, but it just kind of grew on me. And eventually you say, what does it take to be the best at this? And I just, whatever I do, whatever activity it is, I could be, like I said, playing a video game. It's like, what will it take to be the best at this? I want to learn everything about it, ins and outs of it, and I want to
Yeah.
master it. So that's how I feel about vending. I wanted to master it, if that makes sense.
All right, so to drill this down for me, because I understand the poetry of I took a chance, I went to this thing and I fell in love with it. But what exactly did you fall in love with it? Now, mind you, I'm looking at this from the outside in, like, wait, people telling me what to do, cashing out at night, having someone go bear guy, like that to me sounds awful. But like, what
Sure,
was it when
sure.
you're like, no, this is something I see myself doing? What am I missing here as the Bruce Luddite that I am?
Well, what I love about it too is that you feel essentially free. Yes, you are working for a company, but like I said, you can kind of make your own path. You can go anywhere you feel like. You can go in the upper deck today. You can go downstairs today. You can kind of move around, and you can choose what you want to take for the most part. I
Mhm.
feel like your approach to it is what it becomes. And like I said, you feel like you're a part of the game. You're a part of the atmosphere. Uh, been to many championship games, and like I said, the national championship this week, which was between Miami and Indiana, that was fantastic in itself. Just
Yeah.
to be a part of that.
Wait, you were there.
Yes, I did that on Monday this week.
Bury the lead. Welcome back to Oh God Lee. What kind of life is Reggie living on this episode? The national championship. So Mendoza up close.
Yes.
As a fan in the stands, what can we do to make your job easier or make your job better? If that's the thing that's even something we should even considered when we go to a park.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of fans don't realize that they can buy from the vendor, especially fans that don't come on a regular basis. You know what I mean? Uh, Fans, I think for the most part, can I guess just buying from a vendor helps. You know what I mean? I'll say that. Because
Yes.
a lot of times fans don't realize that, especially if it's your first or second time coming to the ballpark. You don't realize that. Oh, they actually bring it to my seat. Wow, this is cool. This is a novelty. But I feel like most baseball stadiums, especially foreign fans, don't realize that. So
I talk about people being broke, but the thing is, I'm usually so high up in the sky that I'm like, you'll be forgiven if no vendor comes up there, section
right, right.
700 and stuff. Like,
Yeah, and like I said, the fans that are really up in the top steps really do appreciate that because it's a long walk to come down, and you're bringing it right to them, so they don't have to get up and come down again. Nothing beats. You want to avoid that trip as much as possible. Going
so
from the upper deck back down.
growing up, you're a baseball guy, right? Phillies?
Absolutely. Well, I grew up in upstate New York, so I have to
Okay.
say probably more Mets. I grew up more of a Met fan, but at right now the Phillies have grown on me. Not gonna lie, Phillies are. I know.
I thought
You're
we had
out
a
there in LA,
connection, and
right?
then you just ruined it, man. Like,
Well, I tell you what, the Dodgers own both of those teams right now. Let's be honest.
right. But that's a kind of interesting thing, man. Like just being a fan, being so young. When you went to the ballpark, where did you sit? How did you incorporate the game? Do you flag down vendors when you were a child? How was that like?
When I was younger, I always noticed them. I always thought it was a cool thing. I never thought I'd, ever want to do such a thing, but I always thought it was a cool concept of the game. Um, I love the different personalities. That always sticks with you as a fan, especially in baseball, because I feel like baseball, it's more of a passive game. So a lot of times you take more time to notice what's happening around you in addition to the game itself.
Yeah.
And you notice some of the vendors have a lot of personality.
So
it
before we switch gears, I know there was a bit of a challenge about doing all MLB ballparks because one of them is in
Sure.
Canada, and Canada has its
Yes.
own labor laws.
Yes, that's
Man,
a challenge in its own.
dude, I gotta check in on you, man. Have you made any headway, or do you have to do an alter
Yeah, so
ego? Go wear
I
a
am knocking
mustache?
on
What's
that
going on?
door actively, trying to see what I can do for that. So right now I'm only missing two MLB, which is Fenway. I got the approval to do Fenway this year, so hopefully that will come through this year. So at
Bring the
that point I'll
cameras.
just be missing, yeah, Toronto. And everybody's like, man, you should have did them while they were in Buffalo. during the pandemic, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, pandemic. I'm thinking about other things during a pandemic.
yeah. But like I said, Toronto is it's more of a challenge because, like you said, it's international, so you need a work visa to work there. There are several options to make it happen. Either I apply for the visa, which may take a while.
Yeah.
Option B is if your company sends you. So if your company sends you, it makes the process a lot easier. Or option three, you can marry a Canadian woman and become a dual citizen.
Man, to sell beer, that is dedication, bro. Man, I need this for me and
Yeah,
us.
right.
So okay, and if this is like the plan, I don't want to like blow you up. I don't want to get you in trouble if you like doing something. But is it possible then to like take a summer and just do all Canadian teams and just put yourself on an island for a year and just say I'm doing Toronto FC, I'm doing the Raptors, I'm doing.
Sure,
Yeah, does
sure.
that
Well,
work
so
or?
what I do like to do, even though maybe it's harder to work internationally, is like every year I like to take trips overseas and pick a different country every year, and I love to see how their stadiums operate. To
Mhm.
me, that's a big. To me, I love the concept of vending. I like how different stadiums have different approaches here in the U.S. So just seeing how it's done internationally to me is it's a great experience. So this year I went to Germany. I try to do the NBA overseas game every year. I did the Paris game. This year was in Germany, which was nice. Shout out to Berlin, great city. I know you
Hey.
were there earlier last
Oh
year.
yeah, man, it was really awesome.
Yeah, Berlin was a great experience. So, but just getting to see how their beer operations work there. And next year the game is in Manchester, England.
Okay, okay, yeah,
So,
you'll love Manchester. Were you going to Old Trafford or are you going to the Etihad?
oh no, I believe it's the arena for the
Oh,
NBA.
oh, the NBA game.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like,
So
so what? Okay, can you go as a fan? Are you going as like another vendor? Like, how does that work? Are you like looking over the shoulders of people?
yeah,
like, what's
I
going on
am
over there?
going as a fan, but like
Okay,
I said, with something like that. It's great to go because it's just a networking experience. Because like I
yeah,
said, everybody that's with the NBA comes in for those international games, including the commissioner and several league office members. So it feels like going to a convention of sorts, and you get to network with all different kind of people that work for the league, do different things, and you, like I said, you make connections, you learn more about different aspects of the league, and you get to see how the operations work overseas. So I guess maybe I'm a nerd in that sense. I like to
nerd.
to learn about the
That's what's
intricate
up.
parts of the making things come together.
Okay, so now that just begs the question, right? Because
Mm.
just on the show about 10 minutes ago, you're like, "Hey, man, I ain't really a rookie no more. I'm a veteran. I'm on my max deal. I'm winding down, and now you're making sports connections. So, can I ask, like, what you think the next chapter is going to be for you, for someone who's willing to really dive into something you're really passionate about?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I feel like I want to be in the sports industry in some sense. You know what I mean? Like I said, I will always vend. I feel like vending is it's the kind of job that you're almost addicted to. It's fun. It doesn't feel like work. It's just like, and you're up close. So I think I'll always do that in some capacity. At the pace I'm doing it, I recognize it's not realistic to maintain that forever. But I do want to do something in the sports industry.
Yeah. Do you have an idea, or just kind of like you're open to options right now?
I'm open to options. Like I said, the same way I kind of jumped into this vending thing, I feel like I'm more than willing to jump into anything else in the field. So.
That's wild. Have you ever been approached by, I don't want to say kids, but people who are outside the vending world about how to get into the vending world? I mean,
Oh
did
yeah,
they
all the
ask for
time,
advice?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I say, it's a 50-50 thing. I feel like some people, when they vent, some people either kind of fall into it and like it. Some people feel like, it's a little much for me. So it's I feel like when people try it, it's either clicks right away and they're like, wow, I love this, or it's like, it's a little much. So I feel like you can almost tell right away when somebody asks you, and you can see their personality, if they're going to be successful. But it's like I said, it's if you love talking to people, if you love networking, if you love just like I said, taking in the atmosphere, talking to people, that's
Yeah.
really what it boils down to. Like being able to chat, have a good conversation, and make the fans feel like, wow, I feel welcome here. You know,
I got a speculative question because I was lucky enough in my life, as a huge American. You see, I'm going with this. I went to Japan to see some baseball games.
sure.
The seats are half the size because, yeah, we're Americans. We're
People
huge.
are
We're healthy, y'all. But of course, the beer delivery girls are kind of like an icon, and they've
sure.
made the rounds on YouTube and a viral thing anymore. You can go and they fill the beers up right there. It's kind of part of the show. And when I
Mm.
was a kid, in the days of Old Shea Stadium, I remember the Red Hots and the get your beer here kind of a thing. Is there an evolution for that? Is it kind of a thing where we think about the next generation of vendors can find their spin, their way to stand out? Or are we heading to a place in sport where it's kind of like, hey man, just be in the shadows, just give us the seamless experience, don't be a part of the show? Like, where do you land on that as
That's
far
a,
as like
that's a good
the different
question. I
pricing?
feel like it really depends on the event or the sport itself. So I feel like baseball, for example, baseball being a passive sport, I feel like vending adds to the atmosphere. And like I said, during COVID, that kind of set the fans really spoke out about that, because like I said, when they were coming in at like partial capacity, fans really were like, "Where's the vendor? We missed the vendor." You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So I feel like in a passive sport, it's always good to have that. Now, like I said, something like a tennis, it may not work all the time,
right, right.
you know. But and like I said, football, you're looking at when it's a busy like that, you're ultimately trying to save people a wait. That's really what it boils down to. People don't like to wait, and if they see long lines, you're capturing revenue that otherwise wouldn't have been spent because they just didn't want to wait in line, or you're just they love the convenience factor
what
that it's
what's your
right there.
Yeah, what's your take on the rise of hospitality packages? Do you look at those rooms and go, "You guys are taking money out my plate," like, or is it kind of like, "Hey, man, different product, different service. I serve different customers." Like, is there a kind of contention in there? Because now I think when I was a kid, packages were like for the top echelon, the rich, the rich of the rich. But now there's like different rooms with different price levels, and people like me can go on the average side of the customer base and like get things served to me in like dedicated rooms.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely see a shift in that dynamic. So I feel like the majority of the new stadiums built, I want to say after maybe 2012 or so, I feel like that's when the shift really happened. Uh, it was less of a shift from general seating and more to clubs and lounges and suites. So there's more of an emphasis on that in any new stadium being built. As a vendor, nothing beats an old classic stadium. I dream about long rows. Nothing nothing is more appealing to me, than a long aisle or a long row.
Yeah,
Something like the Rose Bowl or the Coliseum, where you come in you enter in the bowl, you come out and you look up and you see nothing but seats for days.
yeah,
Like I said, in general, vending fits with more general seating. But like I said, the newer stadiums being built have an emphasis on clubs, suites, and lounges. And, it does take away a little bit from vending, but I feel like vending will always be there. I feel like the fans, like I said, like it, are used to it, and they always request it sometimes. They say, hey, listen, where's the beer guy? We haven't seen the beer guy in a while.
I hear that, man. But listen, I'm tired of talking about vending. I want to know who you are because I sat there for hours yesterday, listened to all of your interviews, man. I'm talking about this guy's on like 25,000 podcasts, and I don't know you. So let me ask you this, man. What do you do for fun? Days off? You hanging out? Like, what do you do? Do you go out to the beach? Are you a gym guy? Well, don't go to Philly Beach. You might get something sick in
Yeah.
there. But what do you do for fun, baby? Tell me.
Well, yeah, like I said, these past couple months, the whole Wheel of Fortune thing kind of consumed me. But
Yeah.
in general, I'm a big tennis guy. I love tennis. I teach tennis. I play tennis. I definitely do that on my free time. I love biking. Big biking kind of guy. Definitely, I ride up and down the cities. I feel like it's the fastest way to get to and from in the city.
Yeah.
Um, I'm currently single, trying to work on that. I feel like that's part of the aspect of settling down. You realize in life, like, hey, listen, this journey's fun. It's fantastic, but you do want to settle down, have a family, and I feel like I'm at that phase in my life now. I'm in my 30s, and I'm like, all right, it's been fun, but when you sit down at the end of the day and you look around, you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's time to settle down a little bit.
So that's actually a advice for life, man. Because I was single for a long time, but but like there's a part where you're like, no, man, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna blaze these trails, and then you get to a point in your life where you go, man, this trail has been blazed, but I really
Mhm.
can't share with nobody.
Right, right,
I would
right.
love to have a tag team partner or whatever you frame it, in your life. I want to
Sure,
have someone
sure.
else to have that time with, and it's almost like a human nature. Like it just tells you it's time to do something.
Exactly. So I
Yeah.
think I'm at that phase now. I'm 36, so the time went by quick. Sometimes you ask yourself, where did my 20s go? But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, no one remembers your
but
20s. So let
no,
me ask you
yeah.
this, man. When you're on a date, pause, but when you're on a date, like what when someone goes, what are you into? Are you a book guy? Are you a music person? Do you love puzzles? I mean, are you a break dancer? Like, talk to me.
For sure. I definitely love video games for sure. I got my PS5 back here. I love playing sports games of all things.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm big NHL right now. I'm big on NHL.
Okay.
That's what's in my PS5 right now.
Duclair, Duclair.
Yes, yes. NHL 26. So that's what I'm playing right now.
Wait a minute, you're the Flyers, right?
You know what? I've been rocking with the Rangers. I work for both teams, so I gotta be in the middle.
This interview's over. I don't.
I know, right? I'm with the Sixers tonight. I'll be at the Sixers arena tonight.
Oh man, well, how was the vibe at Philadelphia? I know they had some dark
Pretty good. I
years,
mean, right
and
now it seems like
yeah,
it's shaky in terms of how they feel about the Sixers. Because I mean, one day they're up, one day they're down, one day Embiid's in, one day Paul George is in, one day they're not. So it's really up or down. Like I said, they're playing the Rockets tonight, so I don't know if I'm not feeling optimistic about a Sixers win tonight. But you never know. You never know. You never
there
know
is
which version of the Sixers shows up.
there is no better example of a crowd not willing to buy stuff if the team is bad than Brooklyn, man. It's like we're gonna go in, we're gonna watch the game, and we're gonna lose the game, and we're gonna go home. Like we ain't
Well,
buying
I
nothing.
tell you what. Last night I was working the Knicks Nets game, and I
Yeah,
tell you what, I really thought that was going to be the first time I ever saw one team double the other team score.
yeah.
I was like, it
Well, the
never
Knicks
happens
double
in
the
the
Nets.
NBA.
Yeah, yeah.
But it almost happened last night.
Gosh, man. I'm like, yo, Brooklyn. Hey, man, the Knicks are reeling. They're like 2 of the
Yeah,
last 10. Here's a chance.
right.
Nope, nope, nope. Never mind.
It felt like, yeah, it almost felt like the Knicks weren't trying either. It kind of gave that energy. It just the Nets. There needs to be some changes made there. I hope they turn it around. I'm really sad that they couldn't get that big three to work with Kyrie, Harden, and Durant.
Scary hours. Yeah, yeah. Don't get me
Yeah, I mean,
started.
they
Don't get
they
me
they
started.
had a team there, and it just it dissipated right in front of us, man. But
You talked about traveling internationally for your job or for your craft, I should say.
mhm.
What is on your travel bucket list, man? If you had the year off, the bank account was full, like, what countries are on your list you want to check
Oh,
out?
my next stop, I want to do the Australian Open. I
Oh,
really, what's going
mhm.
on now? I'm a big tennis guy. I love tennis. I want to go down under. I want to go to Australia. That's
Is that Melbourne or is that somewhere
yes,
else? Okay, yeah,
Melbourne.
you'll
Yep,
love it. Melbourne's
yep.
really nice. Yeah,
That's my next trip I'd like to do. Australia.
Australia's great, man. Just pack all the Netflix movies you have on your phone, because LA to Sydney
Oh
is
my
16 hours.
God.
I
I
was like,
thought
only
LA was long, but yeah, Australia is
bro,
that's
they
a
ain't
long
nothing than
flight.
getting up on that plane ride and being like, yo, where are we? You look at the map and you're just over water. Like there ain't
We're
nothing to find.
somewhere. We're somewhere.
You ain't right over nowhere, man. That's great.
We're somewhere.
That's
But yeah,
nuts,
that's
man.
that's that, that's the next goal. I want to do the Australian Open next year. I'm big fan of tennis. I've done the U.S. Open, French as well. So I want to do the Australian and Wimbledon. So
Did you work those events or you just went as a fan?
I worked the U.S. Open.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I haven't worked overseas yet. Like I said, it's more of a challenge to do that because of the visas.
Well,
But
the World Cup and the Olympics are coming. I don't know if you were already like put your feelers out there, but I was thinking
okay.
maybe I could work that. Gotta find a way for me to
World
get
Cup.
in
I'm
there.
looking at the schedule now.
Yeah,
I will be doing some of the World Cup as well. It's a little bit tougher with the World Cup because, like I said, a lot of times the games are going on at the same time. But yeah, I will be doing some of the World Cup. The Olympics, it's a little far out to start planning for that one, but
sure, sure.
it's on my radar for sure.
Yeah, in your opinion, man, like when are you the most creative as a person? Like when do you feel like, bam, this is like something I'm creating with my hands or my minds or
I feel like when you're in a flow state, or I guess sometimes when believe it or not, I think when you're kind of down and things aren't going well, I feel
Mhm.
like your mind starts to say, let's come up with a different way of doing this, or different method, different. There's got to be a different way. So I feel like you're the most creative when things are going bad. I'll be honest.
Okay. All right, yo, you know what? I'm gonna cut to the chase. You got a mixtape somewhere?
Yeah,
You got a mixtape? Do you draw? Do
I
you
know,
sing?
right?
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah, I do a little bit of art here and there. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay. That's what's up. Yeah. Uh,
I wish my singing voice would be good, but I got to be honest. I feel like you're the most creative when things are bad. When you're in the dumps.
mhm. I'm just saying, if someone's like, oh, my man Reggie Duvalsaint's coming over, I'm like, is he out there on tour with Levert? Like, it sounds like you sing. That's what I want to know if you have a musical thing. But
I know, right? Hey, I wouldn't
yeah,
mind. Take me
okay,
with you.
bet. So right now, man, if someone is want to hear more about your story or follow you online or connect with you, man, like how they go about just seeing more of your story and how that's building up.
Yeah, for sure. So you can follow me on Instagram. It's Reg the Beer Guy at Reg the Beer Guy. Um, my next project, I'm kind of staying local for the most part. So up here, I work with the Brooklyn Nets. I do Knicks, Rangers, Sixers, Flyers. So that keeps me busy for the most part during the winter. Um, just did the national championship. February's usually the time I take some time off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's the time I go dark a lot. And then, like I said, March is when things ramp up again. Spring training. We got Miami Open tennis. Quite a bit going on there in March. Like I said, opening day. Best baseball day of the year is opening day. Nothing like it.
yeah. If you're an entertainer, that January into February is pretty much like the
Yeah,
down season.
it's dry January is a real thing if you're selling alcohol.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have a favorite beer? I mean, I don't know if you drink, but like favorite
Favorite
beer to
beer?
sell?
I'm not really a beer guy. I'll be honest. My favorite alcohol, I don't really drink that much, but my favorite thing would probably be Bailey's. Bailey's on the rocks, believe it or not.
Wait, you just say that Reggie the beer guy is not a beer guy? Is that what you
You
just
know,
said?
if you cornered me and said you had to drink a beer,
Okay,
I'd
what's your favorite beer
probably.
to sell? What's your favorite beer to sell? Which one
Uh,
do you prefer to sell? Do you care or
like I said, I probably Miller Lite. Miller Lite.
okay?
Shout out to
Yeah.
Miller Lite. They were great to me. They sponsored me before, so shout out to Miller Lite.
It's funny you mentioned that because I only drink Miller at games. I can't. I don't go and buy it
Yeah.
because I feel like I feel like old brother from Do the Right Thing. My
Uh-huh.
beer is high life.
Yeah.
But at the Angels games, I'm like, or
Yeah.
whatever, put it on. It's all good. It's all good.
No, yeah, for sure. Like I said, I'd probably go with a Miller because listen, they're a great company. Shout out to them. They really did a lot for me. They hooked me up with the Chicago White Sox, and shout out to Luke Combs, by the way. Luke Combs, very very random, but I was working one of his concerts, and after he finished the song, he says, "Hey, beer guy, come here." I
Oh,
says,
whoa,
"Me? You
yeah.
talking to me?" He's like, "Yeah, you, beer guy, come here."
What was it? He did one song I actually like of his. I'm not a big country guy, but he does the
Yeah,
one song I'm like, oh, that's my jam. But that's
yeah,
kind of cool
right.
being called up. You know what
Oh
I'm saying?
yeah, he's like, "Hey, you got a Miller Lite?" I says,
Yeah.
I says,
Imagine, sorry,
"What?"
man, fresh out.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I didn't
he did
have any on me at
the
the
fast
time, so
car cover. Yeah,
I had to go back and get one. And as soon as he saw me again, I said, "Here's your Miller, Luke," and I threw it right up to him, and the rest is history, man. So shout out to Luke Combs, man.
that's awesome. But if you had a chance to do that with any other artist, what would you want to do that for? Assuming they drink. I mean, it'd be kind of weird if like Beyonce's like, give me Miller.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, most rap artists tend to want liquor in general, but I feel like beer. Post Malone.
Okay.
I would say Post Malone. You know what I mean?
Posty. All right.
Posty's a man. Shout out to
So
Posty. I did some of his shows this summer, and I'm a big fan of Posty, man. I like what he's doing, and like I said, it's a beer drinking crowd. You know,
that's what you need, man. Last question we ask everyone on the show. So I'm going to ask you before we
sure.
get out of here. Is baseball cool, my guy? Why or why not?
Is baseball cool? I guess I could take that a lot of different ways. I feel like right now, I feel like the Dodgers are cool. Everybody else is kind of lukewarm.
Yeah, that's fair. No, fair.
The Dodgers are coasting for what it looks like. I'd say they'll probably win their third championship if you ask me. But is baseball cool? I want to say there's nothing quite like it. You know what I mean? There's no sport quite like it. It's cool in the sense that my favorite part about baseball is that it's every day.
Mhm.
It's like it becomes like a soap opera for men and women too. I don't want to say
Yeah, that's a good point. No,
that's the analogy I use. It's like every day we tune in and see, who's doing what, and how's this person performing, and so and so's 0 for 3, and so and so's, it's a soap opera for the city, I want to say, and
A city that drinks Miller Lite. All right, let's get out of here, man. It's in the booth, man. Thanks so much for your
yes,
time.
sir.
Appreciate you.
Have a great one, man. Good luck to the Sixers tonight.